Hey, what's up everybody? Jake here and welcome to the hobby. Today we're going to be ranking every single Sword and Shield era Pokemon card set on how good they are. And this is going to be really interesting. It's going to be a pretty subjective subject in general, but I've tried my best to be as objective as I can. So I rated every single Pokemon card set on 4 separate categories. This is how collectible the set is, how fun the pack opening experience is, how good the art inside of the set is, and what are the top cards inside of the set for a total score of 40 possible points. Each category, a set can get 10 points inside of each category. So the most amount of points that a set can get is 40 points if they score a 10 on everything. And I'm gonna tell you right now, no set scored a perfect 40 and no set scored a 4. So let's start at the worst set from Sword and Shield and let's see what the best Pokemon card set is going to be. This video is sponsored by Wren. If you open up Pokemon products like me, then you probably have noticed the mountain of plastic, cardboard, and trash that you accumulate, and it weighs heavily on my mind the impact that I am having on our planet. Wren is a website where you can calculate your carbon footprint, then offset it by funding a diverse mix of carbon reduction projects like tree planting and rainforest protection. One project that I really resonate with is the reforestation of countries that are currently being devastated by climate change. By answering a few questions about your lifestyle, you can find out your carbon footprint and how to reduce it. No one can reduce their carbon footprint to 0, so you can offset what you have left after reducing. Once you sign up to make a monthly contribution to offset your carbon footprint, you receive monthly updates on the projects that you support. You get to see what your money is spent on with photos and details on every tree planted, every acre reforested, and every ton of carbon offset. The first 100 people to sign up with the link down in the description will have 10 extra trees planted in their name. Thank you again to Wren for sponsoring today's video. All right, let's start at the bottom of the list. We have Rebel Clash, the worst Pokemon Sword and Shield era set by far. It's not even close. It's got a total score of 17. It's got the worst pack opening experience. It's got some of the weakest art, and it's got the weakest top cards inside of any Pokemon card set from the Sword and Shield era. I looked through the whole entire set and I really don't see a lot of redeeming quality. This is a bad Pokemon card set, and I don't know how the Pokemon company went around with it. It's just really bad. There's no trainer gallery, there's no alt art cards, there's no real chase cards. The best Pokemon card inside of the set is the full art Giovanni. That's the best card inside of the set. You really want something that's even better. You really want to make the set memorable, and Rebel Clash just don't meet any of the metrics for a good Pokemon card set, especially when you compare it to some of the other set inside of this list. All right, next up we got the Sword and Shield base set, which has a really solid collectability score, but overall it's not comparable when you're looking at some of the other sets on this list. It got a total score of 21, so it definitely beat Rebel Clash, but still not as good as some of the other sets. The art is okay, the top cards are okay. The best card you can pull inside of the base Sword and Shield set is going to be the Marnie full art card. So another full art card just goes to show you how popular full art cards can be. But the reason the best card is a full art card is really because there's no other real chase card. The one reason that it really redeems itself is the fact that it is the Sword and Shield base set, and that's going to make it just a little bit more memorable compared to some other sets in general. So it may have some redeeming quality there. Next set, we have Darkness Ablaze with just 1 point higher than Sword and Shield base at 22 total points. And what really redeems back Darkness Ablaze is that it's got a slightly better top card and a slightly better pack opening experience. The best card inside of Darkness Ablaze is the Charizard V Max, which is a pretty solid chase card, but compared to some of the other chase cards that you are going to see on the rest of this list, it's just no comparison. It's not even in the same realm of a good chase card as some of the other sets on this list. After Darkness Ablaze, we have Battle Styles, which is pretty surprising just because Battle Styles actually has alt art cards. The problem with the alt art cards inside of Battle Styles is they're just not as desirable as some of the other alt art cards in other sets. The Urshifus are just not as popular as some people would like them to be. They're decent, and I have to say the Rapid Strike Alt Art Urshifu VMAX is a really cool card. But outside of the Alt Art cards, which are super hard pulls by the way, you're not seeing too much else inside of this set. It was also printed really heavily. The booster boxes are still going for like $85, and there's just not a lot bringing this set back. Next up, we got actually a set from this year, and that is Pokemon Go. So Pokemon Go actually has a pretty solid top card, but the rest of the set is pretty lackluster. The pack opening experience from Pokemon Go is not going to be that fun. Some of the more interesting thing is you got the peelable Ditto, which makes it a little bit interesting. It's also a pretty rare card, so you're probably not going to find one inside of your booster pack. So in general, Pokemon Go just doesn't hit the mark when you compare some to the other set. It's also a fairly small set, so you're going to be seeing reprints again and again, seeing the same cards over and over. And compared to, yeah, like I said, the top sets from Sword and Shield, it's just not going to win out. It's just not as good. And I don't know how well Pokemon Go is going to stack up as a set long term. The big issue is that in 20 years, is it going to fall into obscurity, or is it going to end up being highly desirable because all the people who are now 30 and 40 in 20 years are going to want to collect Pokemon Go just because of the nostalgia factor? Next set up on the list, we're not even halfway through the list yet. We have Chilling Reign, which once again, pretty solid artwork, pretty decent top cards, but still not as good of a pack opening experience as the top sets from Sword and Shield. And it's because it's really missing some of the trainer gallery. It's missing something in the set that really brings it above the other ones, right? It's a decent set. There's some decent alt art cards inside there, like the Shadow Rider alt art. That's a really cool one. But there's just not enough that really makes it spectacular, especially compared to some of the other sets. Next set up, we got Champion's Path, which, wow, has a pretty poor pack opening experience, even though it does contain two pretty solid chase cards, and the top cards as well as the collectability element of Champion's Path really brings it up. It got a total score of 29, so it's starting to get to some decent scores. But the big issue with Champion's Path is that pack opening and the general art direction for Champion's Path, there's no alt art inside of it, and the pack opening experience is going to be a little bit lackluster just because it's a fairly small set, but it's super collectible, and the big part of that is thanks to Charizard. Charizard really brings up this set, really carries the hell out of Champion's Path. You got two Charizard chase cards inside of Champion's Path. Charizard is front and center on the Elite Trainer box, and that's one of the reasons that really brings up the set, is just how memorable Charizard is. And I tell people, never underestimate the power of Charizard. It just completely carries Champion's Path above all the other sets on this list. I think on a pack opening experience and in terms of the art on some of these cards, some sets like Chilling Reign might actually beat Champion's Path, but the fact that Champion's Path has Charizard just really brings it up. All right, we're on to the top half of the Sword and Shield era. These Pokemon card sets are above average, and you're gonna start seeing why. There's some really cool sets on the top half of this list. Next up, right above Champion's Path, we have Fusion Strike, which has some really strong top cards, some really great artworks in those alt art. We got the Mew, we got the Gengar, really carrying the set, but at the same time, the pack opening experience and the collectability of Fusion Strike is really struggling. On average, you're not going to have that much fun opening up Fusion Strike just because the pull rates are pretty bad. Unless you pull specifically one of the top alt art cards, you're not going to have a good time. However, because of how great those top cards are, it really carries the whole entire set. Right above Fusion Strike, we have Celebrations, which scores surprisingly low when you compare it to all the other Pokemon card sets, just because even though it is the 25th anniversary set and it scores a perfect 10 in terms of collectability, Celebrations is a super collectible set. The pack opening experience for Celebrations is actually not that fun. It's decent, but it's not that much fun. The big problem is you only get 4 cards inside of each booster packs, and you're going to see the same card again and again and again, and unless you pull one of the top cards like Charizard or Umbreon, you're not going to be having that much fun. But because it has that Charizard, it actually is pretty decent. That's why it's so high on the list already. Even though it's not on the top end of the list, it's still pretty decent. Celebrations is solid. Super collectible set. Right above Celebrations, you got Vivid Voltage, which scored 31 points. Vivid Voltage, really decent set. Not as collectible as Celebrations for sure, but it has one of my favorite cards, which is the Fat Pikachu VMAX. That card is super iconic for the Sword and Shield era. Most people recognize it right away. Vivid Voltage also has the amazing rare cards, which are fan favorites of people who collect the Sword and Shield era. The amazing rare cards are super duper popular. They only printed them inside of the Vivid Voltage set, so that's one of the reasons that really carries out the set. Decent pack opening experience, great top cards, and really solid artwork overall, even though it's missing a trainer gallery and alt art cards. So the amazing rares, just enough to carry it to this point on the list. Right above Vivid Voltage, we have Astral Radiance, which is actually the worst performing set out of all of the sets from this year, the main ones at least. It has a trainer gallery, and that's what really brings it up. Really solid pack opening experience, decent artwork overall, decent chase cards, but compared to some of the other sets from this year, like Brilliant Stars or Silver Tempest, the chase cards from Astral Radiance are just not on comparatively the same level, but decent pack opening experience. Astral Radiance is not a bad set by any stretch of the imagination. Right above Astral Radiance, we got Silver Tempest, and a big part of what carries Silver Tempest is Lugia V. The fact that this set has Lugia, the fact that this set has a trainer gallery subset. The trainer gallery is pretty solid overall. Barely inches it out right above Astral Radiance. And right above Silver Tempest, we got Lost Origin for pretty much the same reason. Better overall trainer gallery overall. Pack opening experience is pretty much the same as all the other one. The top card being the Giratina V. Great artwork in terms of the set. Solid chase card. You're starting to really see some of the cream of the crops. These are definitely some of the best sets inside of the Sword and Shield era. I would recommend picking up any Pokemon card set on the top half of this list. You really can't go wrong with any of these sets. Right above Lost Origin, we got Brilliant Stars. Brilliant Stars. The best set out of the ones from this year, I personally think so. The chase card being a Charizard alt art card definitely really helps it. The art is exceptional. Great trainer gallery subset. Great alt art cards. It's a really strong set. Brilliant Stars has proven itself to be a really popular set throughout this whole entire year. If you think Astral Radiance or Lost Origin or Silver Tempest is better than Brilliant Stars, that's completely fine. All 4 of these Pokemon card sets are right next to each other on the list. They're so close. All of these sets are really strong. Neck and neck. That's how close it is. And the reason that really brings all these sets so high on the list is thanks to that trainer gallery. Makes the art from the set better. Makes the pack opening experience better. The chase cards are still the chase cards. They're always going to be the alt art. But the trainer gallery subset really brings up some of the other scores that the other Pokemon card sets that are on the bottom half of this list are really suffering from. So maybe we'll see this being a continued trend in the future. We'll see if future Pokemon card sets have subsets, but we're moving on to the podium. Brilliant Stars is in 3rd place. There's 2 other Pokemon card sets that are at the top of this list. So in 2nd place for the best Pokemon card set from the Sword and Shield era, we have Shining Fates. Shining Fates is the only Pokemon card set that scored a 10 in terms of a pack opening experience. It is the most fun I have opening up any Pokemon card set on this list. Shining Fates has a ridiculously good pull rate. If you open up a Shining Fates Elite Trainer box, you're probably going to pull yourself 2 or 3 shiny Pokemon. You might pull yourself a full art card, but because it has such a high pull rate, it really helps this set compared to all the other sets. Shining Fates is decently collectible. Shining Fates has decent artwork thanks to those shiny Pokemon, and it has a really solid top card inside of the Charizard VMAX. A shiny Charizard VMAX really carries the set strong set overall. There's really no issue I have with Shining Fates. It's affordable, it's collectible, it's fun to open, great artwork, definitely deserves the second place spot on the list. And in first place, we have Evolving Skies. That might not surprise some people. It actually surprised me. I didn't think Evolving Skies would do this well, but the big reason is because the pack opening experience from Evolving Skies is actually not that good. It only scored 38 points. It's 2 points off from being a perfect Pokemon card set. And the big reason is because Evolving Skies has kind of a lackluster pack opening experience. If you don't pull one of the top cards, it scored a 10 on everything else, by the way. Evolving Skies scored a 10 in terms of collectability. Evolving Skies scored a 10 in terms of art. Evolving Skies scored a 10 in terms of the top cards, but it scored an 8 in terms of pack opening. And what really hurts is if you don't pull one of the chase cards from Evolving Skies, you're gonna have a bad time. And that definitely weighs the score down. If Evolving Skies had a trainer gallery subset, it might be a perfect Pokemon card set, but it doesn't. But even if it doesn't have a trainer gallery subset, it's still the best Pokemon card set from the Sword and Shield era. Like I said, super collectible. Everyone loves Evolving Skies. The chase cards from Evolving Skies are outstanding. If you pull any of the alt art cards from Evolving Skies, any of the evolutions, if you pull yourself the Dragonite, the Rayquaza, you're going to be mind blown by the art. They're just great, gorgeous cards, super expensive, and it's no wonder why Evolving Skies products are rated so highly. It's a great set overall. Pack opening experience is what really weighs it down, but even then, still the best set from this era. It's not even close. If you compare it to the other sets, maybe you think Brilliant Stars is better. Brilliant Stars and some of the other sets have a better pack opening experience than Evolving Skies, but Evolving Skies is still a lot of fun to open. Alright everybody, that's the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. We rated every single Pokemon card set from the Sword and Shield era, from the worst set to the best Pokemon card set. Do you agree or disagree with this list? Let me know. It's definitely super subjective. If you think a different Pokemon card set deserve a higher or lower spot, let me know. And I will have my complete scoring system down in the description so you can review it if you want to see what the actual scores that each Pokemon card set got from each categories were, since we didn't go into that much details about that. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.